rewind, shall we? Through songs that hold stories, moments, and memories. Welcome to Reminiscence in Chords, Music and Memory, where the past plays on.
Welcome back to Reminiscence in Chords. This happened in summer of 2000. Lucas and Henry were at a public pool because that's what you did when you were 14 and it was 97 degrees and you did not have central air conditioning. The pool was packed. Every kid in town was there, including Jessica, who Henry had a crush on since 6th grade, but had never actually spoken to because he was, as TLC would say, a scrub. Now, Henry thought he was a pretty decent swimmer. He had taken lessons at the YMCA when he was 8. He could do a cannonball that produced a splash radius of at least 6 feet, and he could hold his breath underwater for almost a minute. So in his mind, he was basically Aquaman. His words. On this day, Lucas dared Henry to jump off the high dive and do a flip. In front of everyone, in front of Jessica, who was lying on a towel near the diving board area with her friends. Henry says, looking back, he should have known this was a terrible idea. He had never successfully done a flip off the high dive. He had never even successfully done a flip on his bed. But he was 14, full of fruit punch and misplaced confidence. And No Scrubs by TLC had been playing on the speaker system all day, and somehow he had convinced himself that doing this flip would prove he was not indeed a scrub. What did he do? He climbed that ladder. Each rung felt higher than the last. By the time he got to the top, he could see the entire pool complex and the parking lot. The diving board stretched out in front of him. He walked to the end. He bounced slightly. He could feel everyone watching, of course, or at least he imagined everyone was watching, probably just Lucas and like 2 other people cared, but in his mind, this was the Olympics. He took a breath, jumped, and talked. And immediately knew he'd made a catastrophic error in judgment. He was rotating, but not enough or too much. He couldn't tell because he was suddenly extremely disoriented and the water was coming at him sideways. It hit the surface in what he can only describe as a full body belly flop, but diagonally. Yes, I'm a bit confused too. Let's just carry on. The sound was incredible and every conversation at the pool stopped. Henry's surface completely winded, his entire front side stinging. His goggles had been knocked sideways so one eye could see and one couldn't. Water shot out of his nose and then he heard it. Laughter. Everyone was laughing at him. The lifeguards were trying not to crack up. Some little kid pointed at him and yelled, "Do it again!" He dug a paddle to the ladder, climbed out, and started the walk of shame back to their towels. That's when Jessica stood up. Harry's heart sank, believing she was going to say something devastating that he would remember for the rest of his life. But she was kind and said something like, "That looked like it hurt," and asked if he was okay. He said yeah and nodded, even though his stomach was hurting. Then she smiled at him and said, "Points for commitment though. Most people chicken out halfway down the ladder," and she went back to her towel. Lucas came running over and teasing him like, "Dude, that was legendary. You looked like a chicken." I mean, Henry was embarrassed. Amidst all that, Henry was just happy that Jessica had noticed and checked on him. She didn't laugh or make fun of him. She was kind. And even though he had just humiliated himself in front of everyone, He said he felt good. A week later, Henry said he saw Jessica at the arcade. She was playing Tekken 3 and he worked up the courage to ask if he could play with her. She said yes, she played as Eddie Gordo and destroyed him. He lost badly, but they talked while they played about summer, about school starting soon, about how no scrubs were stuck in both their heads. She mentioned the pool, asking him if he would ever dive again, and he said absolutely not. Smart, she said, and they both laughed. They hung out a few times that summer. Arcade games, grabbing slushies at 7-Eleven. They never dated or anything like that. Yeah, I was thinking the story was gonna lead to them dating, but they became real friends. Years later, senior year, they were at some party and no scrubs came on. Jessica grabbed Henry's arm and shouted something over the music like, "Remember when you belly flopped off the high dive trying to impress me?" He lied and said, "I was not trying to impress you." You absolutely were, was what she said, and it worked, kind of. You were willing to look like an idiot. "That's brave," she said. "Or stupid," Henry countered. I think they're the same thing. Bravery and stupidity blur together. The same impulse that makes you attempt a flip you're not ready for is the one that pushes you to speak up in a room where you feel small, apply for something you're not sure you deserve, tell someone how you feel even when your voice shakes. I don't think you get to separate the two. Sometimes the courage and the clumsiness come as a pair. And the funny thing is, the moment you fear will define you in the worst, they often become the ones that soften you, open you, perhaps even connect you. They become the stories people remember, not because you were impressive, but because you were human. Most of the time, the leap doesn't make you look cool, but it might just make you visible, just like in Henry's case. And that's all it takes for the right person to see you clearly, not as someone flawless, but as someone willing, which in the long run is far more compelling than perfection. TLC's No Scrubs being the soundtrack to these memories that the song itself has nothing to do with the moment. The lyrics aren't about courage or embarrassment or teenage summers, but that's how songs work. They attach themselves to whatever we were living through when they happened to be playing. You hear a track enough times during a certain season of your life and suddenly it becomes a bookmark, a timestamp, a shortcut back to who you were, what you felt, what you feared, what you hoped someone might notice about you, like in Henry's case. So now when Henry and Jessica hears TLC's No Scrubs, it brings them back to that day at the pool with Henry trying to impress her. That's the real power of music. It can carry the atmosphere of a whole year, even if the lyrics had nothing to do with it. Until next time, here's to every awkward moment that ends up meaning more than we expected.
Thanks for rewinding with us. If a song unlocked something in you, follow the show, pass it along. And if you've got a moment worth remembering, share it at reminchords@gmail.com. The next memory we play just might be yours.